I think that's actually kind of a good segue to talk about your involvement in production of events, because at some point you kind of made the transition from being behind the mic to behind the camera. And kind of tell me how that transition sort of took place. Like, how did you start to get involved in more of the production side of things, and kind of the beginning there?
Yeah. Well, it started with doing some tournament streaming for Brawl League. I mean, that's really where it started. And back then, if you were streaming a tournament, all you had to do is you had two scenes in OBS. You had gameplay with scoreboard. Shout out to Guy Wakor for making the scoreboard tool that we all used for years. And then you had a scene that was your casters, and you probably did a Discord call or a Zoom call or something like that, or a Google some sort of video call where you threw their webcams in and did a screen crop, and there you go. And
Mm-hmm.
so literally, maybe you had a third team that was starting soon, and thanks for watching if you were fancy, right? But like literally, that was tournament production. It was casters game, casters game, and
Mm-hmm.
that was boring. And that was, I mean, honestly, like it was boring. Uh, at the core of things, if you look at production today, it actually is basically the same thing. We've just made it more fancy, but we'll get that later. And and so that's how it started, and I just started wanting to do things a little better because I
Mm-hmm.
was bored, right? I was like, this is something I'm doing. I'm getting paid for it. A little bit of money is cool. I'm bored though. Like, how can we make this a more exciting task for the people who are doing production? Um, and so from there, I started doing more of these production things, and I was lucky I was able to kind of like push a little bit more on what we were doing. And nobody kind of complained or said anything bad about it. And I just kind of ended up settling into that role a lot. Um, and finally, it came to a head 2017, probably 2017. Um, I was looking at what BMG was doing, and I was angry. I was so frustrated because what I was seeing them do, right? And at the time, all my understanding of them was like they're a company, right? They have resources, they
Mm-hmm.
have money and an office and people and all, like you have this image of a company when you have no idea. When you I was young, right? You're like you think they have everything, and they have this infinite pool of resources, and that they can do anything and everything they want. Um, and so I looked at it and I was like, this sucks. Like their instant replay solution they're trying doesn't work. Like we can do better. I can do better. I bet I can do better. Which, you know, that was a big kind of motivating factor for me, was trying to prove that with fewer resources we could do more,
Mm-hmm.
and that we could be better. And so actually in 2017 I found VMix. We ran a Brawl League Brawl Ball tournament in the winter, in the off season. Um, and from that I got the free version, which doesn't exist anymore. It only did standard definition, so 480p,
Oh wow.
but I was able to use it because it came with a tool that let you integrate socials to it, so we could grab like Twitter posts and that sort of thing. And so from that, I was able to link that into OBS, do some cropping and stuff. It didn't look too bad at the time. So it was still a 1080 60 stream with a little 480p, like lower third thing that we would pull in tweets and that sort of stuff.
Mm,
And that's
okay.
where it started. And we started pushing from that. We found instant replay through that. We started building from that. And that took us into 2018, where um, kind of things shifted a little bit, where now Brawl League was more under myself, David, and V, and we were running it a lot more
Mm-hmm.
than we had been before. Right, 2017 was really uh, kind of a transition year for everyone, I think. And from there, we just started pushing and doing more and learning more and trying to just figure out, hey, how can we bring in elements that we're seeing in other games into this game and into this production? I will, I will shout out that we were able to do that be, in part because I was working two jobs and I had money. I was living at home. I had no real expenses, like
Right.
privileged, but like I have to acknowledge that having that privilege and having a little bit of bank that I could spend on a vMix license that is my own, I still use it today, right?
Hmm.
Was a really big deal because it was the thing that gave us the tools to really push the envelope and go much, much farther than what we had been doing.